Seven Panthers will be taking a medal back to South Florida, and USA and Canada fight for the gold medal.
You're Locked On Panthers, your daily podcast on the Florida Panthers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome into this Saturday, February 21st edition of the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the nation's #1 sports podcasting network, and it is your team every day. Thank you for making the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast your first listen of the day. I'm Armando Velez from the Hockey News. You can follow me on X at MondoMan12, and joining me on today's edition of the show, it is honorary Floridian and from Full Press NHL, Jersey Jim Biringer is back here joining me. You could follow him on X at Jim Biringer. And shout out to everydayers who come back here and get your daily Florida Panthers fix. So, Panther fans, Olympic hockey fans, grateful to be back here once again on another edition of the show to discuss everything in the world of the Florida Panthers and the Olympics, and a thriller that we got once again, consecutive days, at least for one of them, in comeback fashion, as the other one was a demolition, as a year from the day that USA and Canada faced in the Four Nations final. Both of them advanced to the gold medal game. We're going to discuss Canada's comeback in segment number 1. We're going to discuss USA's demolition of Slovakia in segment number 2, and then preview the gold medal match. But Jim, very thankful to have you here, and my goodness, we were hopefully getting the final that we saw from last year's Four Nations, and man, did both of these teams find a way to get here. Thankfully, we got the matchup that we wanted.
Yeah, I think everybody coming into the tournament wanted this matchup. I think everybody figures that they're the two best teams in the world, though you could classify Finland as up there as well, because the way they play in these tournaments, you can never count them out, considering they won world championships, IIHF. I know it's not true best on best, but it's an international tournament, and not everybody follows that. So, and that's to be fair. However, this is what they wanted, right? They want Canada, United States to rematch, because let's be honest, coming out of Four Nations, there's a lot of big question marks, right? We'll probably get to them later, but I think the biggest one to me is and the biggest question was, what was the outcome going to be if 43 if Quinn Hughes was going to be in the lineup because he didn't play, right? And we know what the outcome was for Canada with Josh Morrissey not in the lineup, and he won't be in the lineup again. Sidney Crosby's game time decision, probably take warm up, see how he is, see him game day. But I think to me, that's the big thing. Is Quinn Hughes that much of an X factor and a difference maker to change the outcome of what happened at Four Nations? It was a 3-2 overtime goal that Connor McDavid scored. I mean, if Austin Matthews wasn't hurt, if Kyle Connor's in the lineup, if this, if that, maybe it's a different game. Jordan Binnington played great. Connor Hellebuck played great. Connor Hellebuck wasn't the reason they lost. They just couldn't score. And now we get the rematch. And everybody hopes that Team USA flips the script, but it's not going to be easy, because in 2002 and in 2010, they lost to Canada, and everybody thought Team USA had a really good shot in both of those games.
Yeah, and for the USA here, a chance for revenge. And yeah, you said it with Quinn Hughes, who's now a point per game in these Olympics. Crazy to think. But let's start with the Canada 3-2 win in regulation on a late power play goal from Nathan MacKinnon in the last minute after taking a high stick from Nico Mikla. And again, no Sidney Crosby in this one after getting hurt in the quarterfinals. But I mean, when you think about how for Finland, I mean, getting a shorthanded goal for them from Eric Hall, a former Panther, and then getting the power play goal 3 seconds into it for them right after Canada went to the box themselves, which was Sam Bennett for the goalie interference, which Mikko Rantanen didn't end up playing in the bronze medal game, which Finland ended up beating Slovakia. But, Finland has no one to blame but themselves when it comes to this, because it wasn't. I know there was the high sticking penalty. I know there was the review, which was very close for offside on the goal with just less than a minute left. But when you stop forechecking and you're not drawing chances on the net, you can't be surprised whenever the speed of Canada is coming right at you, and then and then you're just waiting for things to break their way. I mean, I thought that it was really Finland shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody watched the bronze medal game on Saturday, this is a completely different Finland team that was forechecking. That's the Finland team I expected when they went up 2-0. Just constant forecheck, get the puck deep, just go after it. Lundell, like, just doing what he does on the wall. Kakko's line with Luosterainen. That's what I thought that I was going to see with Finland. When Finland went up 2-0 and they just went in a complete shell and only had 9 shots over the final 30 minutes of the hockey game, not winning. Like, you heard Rantanen talk about it. You've heard all their players talk about it. They sat back, and you're not winning a game against Canada when you have the speed of McDavid, Celebrini, McKinnon, Makar coming at you. And then when you put, 2 Panthers together in Bennett and Marchand, and you put them with Tom Wilson, that line generates the goal from Shea Theodore. And now also the goalie interference. They challenge that. They might win that. Like, in double IHF rules compared to the NHL,
they're more strict.
Well, not only that, but they could have reviewed it because of a missed stoppage. Because when Brad Marchand goes in the crease before he gets touched, in the double IHF, they can blow it down. Like, before the puck even gets there, they can blow that whistle down. So I think Finland had a better chance of the challenge on goalie interference than they did on the offside review, because the offside review was really tight. And besides, it was like 90 seconds before the goal went in. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, what are we doing here again with this? But again, it should have come down to a missed high stick. That was, everybody embellishes. Both sides will do it. They'll tell you that. Finland shot themselves in the foot. And if they played like they played in the bronze medal game against Slovakia, against Canada, we don't get Canada-USA. I'm telling you that right now. Finland's going to the gold medal game. And if anybody thinks USA is walking through Finland, no.
Yeah, and it's funny because I was talking about just the matchup overall between USA and against Slovakia versus Canada versus Finland. I was thinking, okay, matchups wise, I thought that Canada was going to have a harder time, and look what happened there. And yeah, I mean, one thing I noticed with both USA and Canada is the fact that you don't see it in a typical NHL game where the power play 1 is there for at least a minute 15, while power play 2 is there for 45 seconds. For that power play for Nathan McKinnon, that unit was on the entire time. And I mean, we've seen that common. It was common throughout these Olympics. And I mean, they were not going to stop until they got that goal behind the net. So that's also
Finland almost killed it. And Finland almost killed the penalty. Like, they get it out and they go to overtime. Again, we don't know. Again, Canada found their legs down 2-0. They get the big goal by Sam Reinhart. Oh, by the way, when you play Sam Reinhart, he scores. Like, I mean, I mean, he does score. Like, I'm not trying to be a homer here, but like, I've watched Sam Reinhart enough in the playoffs and in the Stanley Cup final to know he can score big goals. I mean, he is a 50-goal scorer. I mean, like, let's be honest here. Like, I mean, 5 goals in Stanley Cup clinching games. I mean, it's crazy. The minutes allocation between the Florida Panthers on Team Canada. I mean, less than 10 minutes in most, around the 10, 11 minute mark around there for most games. I mean, and Sam Reinhart finally converts. It's crazy because that was a high stick after a high stick from Anton Lundell on Brad Marchand. It's crazy. That's just a bad penalty by Lundell, because that's 200 feet from your net. Like, you can't take that penalty.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's crazy. Every time the Panthers player can, whether it was on Canada's side or Finland's side, well, especially Canada, every time they drove to the net, it was like some type of swing one way or the other. We spoke about Sam Bennett's goalie interference call, Brad Marchand on the goal from Shea Theodore, and then Sam Reinhart parked in front. And then the high sticks, Nico Mikla. Let's talk about the high stick, because we saw even Teemu Selanne complaining about that on Twitter, and Chris Pronger replying to it. I compare that just like let's say you're sitting behind home plate at a game, and even though there's netting behind you and the foul ball is coming towards you, what are you going to do, Jim? You're going to react, right?
I'm reacting. I'm pushing, and I still do it at hockey games when I'm watching and the puck comes near the glass. I still move my head. I'm going to say this as an official, and I said this yesterday and I tweeted it out. I think everybody thinks I have an issue with the call. It's the right call. But it's the right call. What I have an issue with is its lateness. That's what I have, because Nate McKinnon sold it. He sold it. Any player selling it, but the referee reacted when Nate McKinnon pointed to him and be like, yo, you missed it. And then his arm goes up in the air. that's what I have an issue with, because the referee was looking straight at the play and saw the high stick and didn't call it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And usually in that situation, usually the top guy can see it. The bottom guy's kind of looking at other things. In that situation, in the playoffs, we're usually seeing that get. That's like it's a human error, missed call, whatever. Because Nate McKinnon kept playing and then said something.
Yeah. So
it's the right call. For anybody
yes.
who thinks that I'm not saying it's the right. No, it's 100% the right call. I just don't like when it was called and how late it was called.
It's letting the player kind of dictate it instead of your own judgment. It's like kind of doubting yourself.
Because the referee kind of was going to be like, all right, let's just keep going. Let's just keep playing this thing because, like, this is how we officiate games. But kudos to Canada, because without the constant pressure, because how did Finland get their first power play? Pressure in his zone, getting a penalty. Well, Bennett goes to the bit, was stupid, but and he can't be like that against Team USA. But they had constant pressure in the first period and getting shots off and things like that. When you sit back and you let Canada dictate play, calls like that are going to happen.
No doubt. And that's what happens when you're behind in the play. You're going to get those stick infractions, whether it's the hooks, trips, high sticks, all that. And speaking of, that happened quite a lot in USA's game against Slovakia, where they came out to a 6-2 win. We are going to discuss that and more next here on the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. And ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into a reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for two. That's right. Flights, tickets, the whole experience. And if you're already looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, this is the perfect time to lock in. I love the futures this time of year, whether it's picking a team to win the championship or grab a conference title. It adds that extra layer of excitement to every game down the stretch. And now, not only can your pick cash, it can also send you to the finals. Visit FanDuel.com to get started and use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And I'd like to thank you guys once again for making the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast your first listen of the day. And make sure to join our Everydayer Club. It's an ad-free audio access to with also a group chat to our Discord and more. Use code DEADLINE ahead of the trade deadline for 1 month free. Tap the link in the show notes to learn more. Back on the second segment here on the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast, Armando Velez here with Jersey Jim Biringer from Full Press NHL. Now we are going to discuss USA's 6-2 win over Slovakia in the semifinals for their as they advance to the gold medal game, which once again Sunday 8:10 a.m. Eastern on NBC and
right on the dot. By the way,
yep, right on the dot. Take some notes, NHL. By the way, when it comes to your start time.
Dot. Right on the dot. You can time it.
Yes.
You turn on the TV at 8:11, you'll miss a minute of the game.
You know what's it's so funny. I've gotten so used to hearing the announcement from the arena saying, "Are you ready?" or in between or the "Let's Get It Started" by Black Eyed Peas. I've gotten so used to hearing that all throughout this.
Yeah.
But yeah, USA dominant from the start, and really when it came to Slovakia, one of the things that was very noticeable was just their nerves when it came to this game, and I felt like it was just when it comes to connecting on passes outside of when it came to exiting out of their zone, that was actually a big problem for Slovakia. And then you would use the boards to possibly chip it up, and then it's right on a USA stick, and then they're re-entering their O-zone once again. And I thought that was really noticeable where it came to the USA finally getting some chances at the net really early on. And then, really 4 minutes in, that nice stretch from Zach Werenski to Dylan Larkin. And then from there, the USA really took over. So I really think that that's really how the USA was able to really take control from the very start of this game.
Yeah, look, let's be honest. Team USA played their best game in the tournament in the semifinal game against Slovakia. They're going to have to do one more against Canada, obviously, if you want to win. It's going to be an NHL-style game, I have a feeling. But against Slovakia, because I'm going to be honest, they didn't look great against Sweden. They didn't look great in the 3 preliminary round games. And the thing that worried me, because I had said going to the quarterfinal game against Sweden, I said, look, that Denmark game scares me. You're going to play like that, Sweden's going to beat you. And they almost did. I mean, again, the margins are so thin in all those quarterfinal games that had 3 overtimes, right? And, Connor Hellebuyck played great. Defense kept everybody to the outside. Again, I noticed a trend between Sweden and Slovakia. They didn't want to shoot the puck a lot. Slovakia, like Sweden, trying to get the cross-ice, beautiful one-timer, the tape-to-tape pass, trying to go backdoor way too much. Especially on the power play, there were times where Slafkovsky had chances to take it to the net and shoot on Hellebuyck when he was down. They didn't shoot the puck enough. I think Hellebuyck got in their heads. And again, it's nerves and everything. But Team USA played their best game in the semifinals. And let's be honest, had a little bit of an easier opponent. Mm-hmm. But you can never take the Slovaks lightly because of what we've seen over the years. And let's not forget, without NHLers, they did win a bronze medal at the Olympics. So, and they have guys that were there on that team playing in this time around. Slafkovsky being one of them had 8 points in 6 games for Slovakia. So, I mean, look, it was going to be a challenge for the Slovaks. Samuel Halavai had to stand on his head like he did against Finland the first game. It was a great story, but the better team won the best. And look, I think once they knew what the outcome was against Finland, they already saw the scoreboard. They already knew what their job was to do. And they sent a message to say, this is our best game for any of the doubters that are out there for us that say we haven't played our best hockey yet. Well, we just did. And you hope that there's another game coming because that was a clinic by Team USA.
Yeah, I'm playing in multiple international tournaments, world championships. You said just the Olympics as well back in 2022 in Beijing. And I mean, Halavai getting pulled after the 4th goal for Team USA, which happened just 19 seconds apart from Jack Eichel on the forecheck from the Tkachuk brothers, and then Jack Hughes on a breakaway, deking Thomas Tatar pretty badly there for that goal, which was a thing of beauty. Which
was Patrick Kane-esque. It was Patrick Kane-esque. Yeah. I mean, Eddie O was talking about it. Him and Boucher were talking about it, and then he does Patrick Kane and has this Ellie, and then he scores. I mean, when it was 2-0, you knew the game was over.
Yeah.
Once it was 3-4-0, it was like, all right, you could just relax and just, all right, well, we know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, and then it's crazy, the message sending as well with the Tkachuk brothers and Eric Chernak at the end of the game in the third period.
Panthers, I love Lightning that. Just runs deep, baby. It just runs deep. Just runs deep. Hey, don't be surprised if Tkachuk brothers and Hagel get into it. I'm not saying they're throwing down, but there's going to be some hitting, and there's going to be some fighting, and there's going to be some not fighting, but there's going to be some board play.
If the game gets out of hand and it's a 3-goal deficit, and with 2 minutes left, then yeah, we will see that, but not anywhere in the first.
No, but I think minutes. I think Matthew and Tkachuk and Brandon Hagel will throw hits at each other.
No doubt. But I just love the fact that it's both the pair of brothers from the Hugheses and the Tkachuks that are just doing what they do best when it comes to the outstanding skating that the Hughes brothers do. I mean, we saw that in the quarterfinal game for USA when Quinn Hughes scored that overtime winner, and then Jack Hughes scoring that 4th goal for Team USA. And then when you talk about just the fact that both Tkachuk brothers are just there on the forecheck. And I mean, Brady getting 2 breakaway chances, not converting on the first one, but then eventually doing so in the 3rd period as well. I mean, the fact that their style is identical to the other brother, I think that's really cool, that the fact that they've been so impactful there. And I mean, Jack Hughes going up to that 3rd line as well. He didn't really start there. That's really the only lineup tweak that Mike Sullivan has been able to put together. And then the fact that the 4th line is getting key draws. They're winning a lot of their defensive zone draws and getting clears. And I think that's also going to be key for getting, I know we're getting, I might be getting too ahead of myself ahead of the 3rd segment, maybe like a possible advantage. But the fact that that guys like Vincent Trocheck can win a key D-zone draw and get it clear, and just like Quinn Hughes, Zach Werenski on another pair can connect well to his forwards down the middle from getting out of the zone. So I think that's the zone exits are also going to be very important when it comes to knowing how much speed the opposition of Canada does have.
Well, you saw it against Slovakia, and it was the best. Team USA's offense is driven from their defense, the transition game off the rush, and the way Quinn uses puck possession. Zach Werenski, two of the best defensemen in the National Hockey League. I mean, look, you think about it in a gold medal game, three of the top defensemen in the National Hockey League are playing in that game. With you have Cale Makar, Quinn Hughes, Zach Werenski, 1, 2, 3. And, Werenski and Hughes are on the same team. Obviously, you don't want to discount what Faber's done, McAvoy. And everybody's got to remember, Charlie McAvoy shut down Connor McDavid in the first game on the preliminary round, the Four Nations face-off. He had the big hits and everything, and that's when he, hurt his shoulder and everything. But, Slavin's there. Like, Team USA's defense keeps everything to the outside. The problem is they haven't seen a rush team similar to Canada. Canada can do what they do. Bill Guerin built his team to play against Canada and vice versa. They built each other's teams to face off against each other and which style wins. And look, USA dominated Slovakia, wasn't even close, and they hurt their morale, and you saw it against Finland. They just didn't have anything left. Great story, but look, Team USA played their best game, semifinals. That they did what they were supposed to do. That's what you should have done against Denmark. They're playing their way into the tournament. Now you got to do it one more time.
Yeah, and for Team USA there, hopefully we do see a healthy Tage Thompson. It looks like that it was precautionary for keeping him out. It was
5-0. I mean, it's 5-0 in the third period.
Yeah, and the replay showed like kind of a cross check near the crease. That was okay. Maybe that could have been. And
he was on the ice on Saturday practicing with Team USA. So
yeah,
I think it's the right call by the coach, just to be like, guys, 5-0, just stay in the locker room.
Yeah, and then Team Canada had a closed practice, even though they said that they were not going to have closed practices the rest of the way. But I kind of get it. I get it. I'm not mad about that when it comes to trying to hide things.
Last year, that's all anybody wanted to talk about with the practices was who's playing, who's not playing. This guy because remember, we had the pictures of Thomas Harley at the practice facility, just like sneaking his head out of the door because he wasn't sure if he could come onto the ice. Now, again, the rules were different. But again, remember last year, everybody the issue was last year. I think the big thing was like when Mike Sullivan said, "Oh, Quinn Hughes is coming." Everybody wanted to go see and the other thing was too. Don't forget, Matthew Tkachuk got hurt in the Four Nations, and everybody who was there, especially in Boston, were waiting for him to take ice with their practices and just So I get why Canada did it. Now you talk to the players, you hear 87 was playing, was skating, looking really good. So I had a feeling last night. My gut said Sidney Crosby will play unless he can't play.
Yeah. So, yeah, and I like this little game of chess that the coaches are playing.
I love it. Match. I love it. That's John Cooper. I mean, that's John Cooper, right? Like it's a chess match because, like, he even at the Stadium Series, he was like, "Well, you guys didn't see what happened at the end of practice with Victor Hedman. Like, you didn't get that indication. Like, the little chess matches these guys are going to play and the lineups, right?" And I think for me, and I know we probably got ahead of ourselves maybe with a little bit because you wanted to roll into segment 3, but I think Boldy, Getzel, Matthews line has to start producing for the Team USA to win because Canada, I know everybody talks about depth down the middle, if Crosby plays, if he doesn't play. Canada has a lot of big game players that have delivered in big game moments, and you want to exercise some demons, especially if you're Austin Matthews. Beating Brad Marchand in a big game will do that.
Yeah, and even though he didn't necessarily score in the game against Slovakia, lots of good chances for Austin.
He hit the post and all this stuff. I mean,
he's coming along.
He's right there. Yes. I mean, if he can connect for one on a power play, that's huge because I think Team USA's power play could use it. Again, how much speed and how much open ice is Jack Hughes going to have against the Canadian defense, who will not have Josh Morrissey, but they still have Drew Doughty, have DeSanheim, still got some Thomas Harleys out there. Like, again, Jack Hughes looks great against Slovakia. He played okay against Sweden. He had a good assist, but again, this is a big game. This is a big moment. Different team, step up in competition. It's great head-to-head matchup here.
Yep. And let's continue that conversation as we will discuss more of the keys to the game here next on the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast. Segment number 3 here on this Saturday, February 21st edition of the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast. Thank you once again for making the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast your first listen of the day. Armando Velez here with Jersey Jim Biringer of Full Press NHL. And 8 a.m., NBC and Peacock, once again, February 22nd, 2026. 46 years to the day of the Miracle on Ice. And the United States has not defeated Canada in a match on their way to a gold medal since 1960. And four nations had 15 million viewers. I feel like, Jim, that this is going to get to 20 easily, knowing what's on the line, and then knowing that we've been deprived 12 years of these Olympic Games. And the province of Ontario is going to start alcohol sales at 6 a.m. That's how important this game is for everybody here. The fact that they're starting it legally for this game.
I mean, it's the biggest game on the hockey calendar this year, right? Like a year ago, right? It was the biggest game. It's the biggest game. We had USA, Canada women for gold. Now we have USA men, right? This is, I think, the third time that's happened is now where the two teams have played in the final, right? 2002 and 10, right? Did not go Team USA's way on the men's side anyway. It didn't go on the women's side those 2 years either, except the women won this year, and the best team won there. But look, this is the game. Everybody's talked about it. Obviously, the historical impact, what you just said about, 1980, they beat the Russians. Like, the Russians are not, like, let's be honest, the Soviet Union. I mean, if Canada was rolling out, 4 straight Olympic golds and all this stuff, yeah, then we're talking in some big-time history. These two squads met a year ago. There's a lot of revenge on the mind of Team USA. They want to take, and this is a big stepping stone for Team USA hockey, right? For USA hockey, they've done it all except gold on the men's senior level. Like, this is the last piece that's missing for USA hockey in this current run where they've really established themselves as a power nation. They have yet to have that distinction of being Olympic champions. They ended the 92-year World Championship drought. Tage Thompson, overtime winner against Switzerland. That's done. You got World Junior dominance, dominating on the women's side, U18s. The senior team has to come through because then you're waiting another 4 years for a chance to do it, which you may not have it. You may not get there again. Like, You're not sure if you're going to get there again. So, and I know you have World Cup for hockey, but this is
the Mecca.
This is the Mecca. USA hockey needs a gold medal. They haven't won best on best tournament since 1996. World Cup of hockey. That's the last time they've won a big major best on best tournament. Last gold, 1980. Before that, 1960.
Yeah.
Gotta come through.
Yeah, which crazy 1960 and 1980. Brock Nelson has the family lineage for his grandfather.
It would be something, right? Storylines. There's so many storylines, man.
It feels like storybook. It feels like destiny. It's crazy because in 1980, that wasn't even on live television. I know we had Al Michaels and Ken Dryden, but that was on tape delay.
Yeah, it was tape delay.
When it came to that.
It's tape delay because they showed it in prime time. They want to show it in prime time. Here, look, you got to get up early. You got to set the alarm clock on a Sunday. Big deal. So what? You know what? I think you'll do it if look, would it be if it was an hour later, I'd be okay with it. Just but I'll say this. I don't care. You're getting up and you're watching it because this is going to be great hockey. And you hope out of this it does translate to the National Hockey League too. People are going to want to watch these players on their teams and their respective teams, but we know that never kind of translates. But as far as the game goes, look, I've said it pretty much throughout the tournament, especially in the quarterfinals, semifinals. Jordan Binnington will give up 1 or 2 goals. But getting the next one once he does that and he's locked in is very, very difficult.
Yep.
He's done it. 4 nations he won. He's won a Stanley Cup Game 7. He's closed out series. He's been that dude. Connor Hellebuck on the international stage for Team USA has been just as but he's been just as good. Yes, he let up the goal, but I know everybody's saying, well, he has never got it done in the playoffs. Well, he got it. He's gotten Team USA to this point twice now. Not his fault they can't score goals.
And I'm interested to see really how USA does against the defense pairs that's not Makar and Taze, because they're running those guys loads of minutes. What's going to happen when Doughty, Thomas Harley are on the ice as well, for example, of those guys? I just wonder. And it's crazy because obviously there's the Sid factor there as far as if he plays, which I also think that he's going to be and it's crazy. Do you take Macklin Celebrini off of power play 1 with how well his wall play was?
You don't. I think Celebrini's on power play 1 now, and I think, and that's the thing with Canada, right? And that goes for Team USA's D. Like, you're going to see McDavid and Celebrini and that speed coming at you through the neutral zone all the time. And you can't dismiss how Thomas Harley's played against Team USA. Travis Sanheim has played really well. Shea Theodore's really stepped up his game for Canada. And I want to see, does Team USA really have a line to match Bennett, Marchand, and Wilson? Because that line really generated some things for Canada in their comeback win against Finland. That's a grinded type line. Do you want to put Eichel and the Tkachuk brothers up against that kind of line and take away what they do best? Because do they really have another line that can do that? Do you match up your fourth line with them? Like, that's to me like the difference, I think, because yeah, you want grinders and everything, but you don't have a line specifically like that to match up against that line.
Yeah, and Canada will have the last change as they are the higher seed coming into this, so that really showing how much that matters there. And I'm just wondering how they're gonna. I assume that they're gonna match up the McDavid, McKinnon, Celebrini line. Assuming I don't think they'll go nuclear right away. They might not.
I don't think they'll go nuclear right away. I think if they're down, the nuclear option will come. And I expect Nate McKinnon to have his best game 5-on-5.
Oh yeah, and it's crazy because usually that's been the damage for Canada has been on the power play, not as much at 5-on-5 as their 42%. But their penalty kill, Jim, is not the best. I think they're at 78% while USA's penalty kill is perfect throughout this tournament. So that's also going to be a key on just how the USA just gets their players to just keep in position. I mean, they talk about rosters specifically to beat a certain team. I mean, Vincent Trocheck, JT Miller, as much criticism as they have, I know there's going to be a lot of more noise if they don't come out on the winning end there. But I mean, those guys have done the job as far as like winning their battles. I mean, Dylan Larkin, big name player. He's goals in 2 straight games now in the quarterfinals and semifinals for Team USA. So I mean, and
he's stepping up.
Yeah, it's not running the top guys to the ground. That's the great thing about Team USA there. But it's funny because I know there hasn't been a lot of minutes for Sam Reinhart, but he could be used in multiple situations as well on the other side for Team Canada. So I'm just very interested to see how the Eichel and the two brothers Tkachuks, who aren't the fastest of skaters, Eichel's probably the fastest one of the 3 against McDavid. That's really what I'm going to be interested in when it comes to how they match up, assuming that John Cooper goes that way.
Yeah, no, I mean, it'll be interesting for sure to see what they do. I mean, look, don't forget, like, how do they match the D pairing? Shea Theodore, like, where's he going to play? How many minutes does Drew Doughty get? Samheim, Parenko, guys like that. Same again, but we know Quinn Hughes and Zach Werenski with the puck possession can get them in and out of trouble. But, one of the big things Team USA has not been great on the breakouts, and they got to get a lot better because Canada can come in waves and they can keep coming and apply pressure. And if you take penalties, I know the penalty kill unit's been really good, but this power play shoots the puck.
Yeah.
Sweden's power play didn't shoot. Slovakia's power play didn't shoot. This power play will shoot the puck.
Yeah. Throw it out the window for this game. And it's crazy because you mentioned that they're not as well connecting, but I also do trust them to skate on their own. But at the same time, there's going to be a forward in your face as well. Can you get the right support there on the other side from one circle in your D zone to the other? without an errant pass that goes off the boards, and then there's a possibly free lane off puck that Connor Hellebuck isn't able to save. That's the thing that I'm worried about when it comes to the D for USA, even though they do have the speed advantage. It just comes down to those forwards of Canada.
Well, I'll say this also about Dylan Larkin. He basically said, he made a call out to everybody about the World Championships last year after the Four Nations. Guys stepped up and he took some criticism, especially because he has never been in the playoffs since his rookie season, and he's delivering now on the big stages. And now you want to see Detroit in the playoffs. You want to see what he can do on the big stage, and he's doing it. And he's delivering. But again, Team USA needs more than a couple of lines to win hockey games here. Like at one time it's top line, another time it's the Jack Hughes, Larkin, Thompson line. Where's everybody else's production, the big game moments? Like you can't have it like a few players here just doing everything. So Canada, both teams have depth. And the margins are so thin. I mean, I don't expect 2002 when Canada just like it's a 1-goal game that Canada just took over. I expect this to be a 1-goal game again, like it was in Four Nations. Like if it's a blowout, I'll be very, very shocked.
I will as well. And it's crazy. The quote that Matthew Tkachuk provided after this one, saying, quote, every team in the USA and Canada will have it on. And then saying later, we're playing for those who came before us and those who will come after us. I mean, that just hits you in the heart. It's just like, let's go. Like right. That's how you're feeling.
And he talked about it last year at Four Nations after the first game. He's like, oh, it's our time now. We're here. But you didn't win. Like, if you're here, it's your time. You beat the best team in the world on the biggest stage. And we know Tkachuk can show up. We know everybody shows up. But, again, both teams have answered the bell. Both teams have faced adversity.
Yeah.
And it's coming down to a bounce goaltending. It comes down to the same thing it comes down to an NHL game.
Yeah. It's so funny because Canada faced adversity in 2 straight games getting to the final. USA finally had 2 good first periods heading into the final after struggling. So their starts in the preliminary round were flipped in the knockout stage, and now they got here. What matters for both of them is
does Canada get back to having those good first periods like they did in the preliminary round, because they have not gotten off to great periods to start those next 2 games. If the issue for me is what I'm scared of is if Canada figures out a way to play in the first period, this could get ugly really quickly, because Celebrini, McDavid, that line could really do some damage.
But there is a part of me that will be like, okay, if they're running that as much a lot throughout, then which in the previous game the other lines had a hard time gaining speed and getting their chances. That is kind of like a Florida Panthers Edmonton Oilers game. It's like, okay, it limits what the other ones can do. But I mean, on the international best on best, it's not necessarily the same.
I mean, you got Marner, you got Stone, you got all those guys. Like, you have a lot of talent still on Team Canada. This isn't the Oilers where it's like McDavid, Draisaitl, and drop off.
Yeah. Not nowhere near as much as the drop off.
And like we said coming in, well, the Quinn Hughes factor, we didn't know what it's going to be. Well, Macklin Celebrini wasn't at the Four Nations, and we see kind of what he's been doing here with the speed he brings. Now you got to deal with 2 of those guys on the same line, and with Marner coming with Stone, like all these different guys. Like, I mean, I can't wait for this game. Like, I'm pumped up.
It's stupid skill, and honestly, if it gets 3-on-3, this is where it's like, that's where Canada really has the advantage. Yeah, and I'd be very nervous about it. So especially with all that open space, and you just hope that I do want this to get decided in regulation.
Yeah, I think I want the game decided in regulation. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, no doubt. When I did my medal predictions before the start, I did say bronze Sweden, USA I Canada gold. I'm not going to be switching picks in the middle of a tournament, but man, I do really have a good feeling about how the USA's chances. Yeah, you don't bet on Canada, but nothing will surprise me when it comes to this tournament here and what happens on Sunday morning here on the East Coast. So how are you feeling just overall on just USA's chances?
I mean, I think if you ask me to pick a winner, it's a 50-50. It's a pick 'em game, right? Like I don't like. I think I had Canada coming into the Olympics as winning gold. Finland medaled for me, so that's great. I didn't think Team USA was going to get to the gold medal game just because I think if they had played a tougher opponent in the semis, maybe and there was a margin. They almost didn't get past Sweden. So it's a 50-50 game for me. Like, it really is at this point. My heart wants Team USA to win. I'm staying with my pick because I think Canada, I had them. So, but yeah. I'll say this. I want my pick to be wrong.
Yes, I do too.
I want my pick to be wrong as a fan, but you got to play the game, right? Like, again, Canada could come out the gates and play like they did in a preliminary round, and this game's over in the first period.
Yeah, exactly. And we will be happy to be wrong. Whatever happens, a Florida Panther will get a gold medal. 7 Panthers will. Unfortunately, Alexander Barkov, can they call the Olympic Committee and just ship him one, please? Just please.
Somebody will take the extra one. Somebody might take an extra one for him.
Yeah, Mikko Lehtinen, the one who's not in the NHL on Finland, is like, do you want to donate a bronze medal?
We'll pay you for it. We'll pay you for it.
Yeah. And also, one thing, 2 Panthers do have a chance at triple gold in Brad Marchand and Sam Reinhart. So that will be one victory for the Florida Panthers if Canada does win. But hey, Panther fans win regardless. And the thing is, we're going to see some good hockey. That is also what's going to matter. As fans of the game, that's what we're going to see. But
it'll be an NHL game. That's what it's going to be. And I hope the game's ref like it is a Game 7. Just let them play. Just let them play the game. Like, I know the IHF rules are different, but just let them play.
Absolutely.
Please. That's all I'm asking is don't let it be decided on a stupid ticky-tack call.
No doubt. And that's a good place to end it. But, Jim, I want to thank you so much for joining me on this edition of the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast. Tell everybody where they can follow you online, my friend.
Yeah, check me out at Jim Biringer on X, Twitter. Follow me at JerseyJim33, Instagram, Full Press NHL, Instagram, Nightcap Recap on Instagram as well. Check out also Full Press Hockey on YouTube. We got the gold medal preview up there. So check that out. Full Press NHL and Full Press Media on Substack. Check that stuff. Always a pleasure to be here on the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast here on Locked On Network with you, Armando. I appreciate you having me come on and give my opinion.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jim. And I know for sure that I will see you again very soon.
Absolutely.
And if you like what you're hearing, please subscribe to the podcast to be notified every single time the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast jumps into your podcast feed. Don't forget to also subscribe to the shows in the Locked On NHL network, including Locked On NHL, Locked On Fantasy Hockey, Flip Livingstone, and Stu Roden, and Locked On NHL Prospects. Thank you once again for making the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast your first listen of the day. So I'm Armando Velez with Jim Biringer. And you've been listening to Locked On Florida Panthers podcast, part of Locked On Podcast Network. Where it's your team every day.